This is a reminder to you and to myself, really, that you have complete and total control over what you choose to focus on. And I wanted to make this video this morning because there was something that happened to me that really reminded me of this idea that what I choose to focus on is what I see most of in the world. And that instance was when I went shopping the other day. It was just like a really everyday, ordinary occurrence, but I had this kind of really profound moment in the middle of the supermarket. So to give you a bit of a backstory, I was at the gym, been to the gym, and I had leg day of all things as well, and I am the first to admit that I always get incredibly hangry if I haven't eaten. And it's always been a major thing, and especially when I'm working out, I get this incredible amount of hunger, and if I ignore that, then I often get really irritable. And so I always do my best to make sure that I've got enough snacks around, or I'm always eating enough protein. I'm always trying to work things out with my diet to avoid this kind of hangriness, because it has consequences sometimes, me getting snappy for reasons that I really shouldn't be getting snappy for. But anyway, I went to the supermarket. So I had my workout. I didn't take much food with me to the gym. So I had like a banana or something, and I was like really, really hungry. And I just wanted to go and pick up one of those like chickens from the deli. But this time of year, it's December, it's just before Christmas. And so the supermarket was just mental. The car park was completely full. Everyone was driving around like lunatics. Then when I eventually found a spot and got into the supermarket, there were just people everywhere, leaving their trolleys, swinging their trolleys around, just being in my way. And I was incredibly hangry. And for the first 5 minutes while I was navigating this supermarket, all I could see were just people being in my way and annoying me. And anything that anyone did was an annoyance. And the more time I spent in this supermarket, the more I could feel myself just getting aggravated. And I just wanted to just get out of there. But I knew I needed to get something to eat. And then I was in the queue. And this harks back to the video I made the other day about people not wasting time. And there was a woman that was fumbling around in her purse for her for some vouchers and for a code and for her like loyalty card or whatever. And it was really irritating me, the fact that this woman didn't just get this stuff ready before she joined the till, because there were 4 other people waiting behind her, and now we all had to wait because she couldn't spend 2 minutes getting. Anyway, I knew I was getting really hangry, unnecessarily so. And it suddenly dawned on me that there were many other things that I could have chosen to focus on in that moment. But what I chose to focus on was this woman's apparent inability to be considerate for other people. And I asked myself, what else could I be focusing on in this moment? And I looked around me, and I saw a lot of the workers there were all dressed up in Christmas gear. So there was a guy dressed as like the Grinch, there was another guy in a hat, there was some guy dressed as like an elf. They were all smiling, they were all helping the customers, they were all telling them where the least busy tills were. There was a woman there like playing with her baby, and her baby was giggling. And there were a lot of good things going on around me at that time. But in that particular moment, I had chosen to focus on the things that were pissing me off. And it just dawned on me. I've had this realization before, but I quite often forget that I have complete control over what I'm choosing to focus on. And the times where I choose to focus on things that make me irritable are ironically the times where I feel irritable. So my brain, for some reason, believes that when I'm irritable, when I'm angry, that it is a good idea to focus on the things that are going to make that situation worse. And I have to make a real conscious effort to focus on the good things that are happening around me, because there are lots of them. Driving is another really good example of that. You know, there are days where I can go out and really enjoy the experience of driving, and there are other times where I get really pissed off about having to be stuck in traffic, about someone cutting me up, about someone pulling out in front of me. And those things annoy me, but then I can flip that round, and if I'm stuck in traffic, I have the opportunity to listen to a podcast, and somebody that I've never heard of might introduce me to this idea or this concept that I have never thought about before. And I would never have had that opportunity had I not been stuck in traffic. And I often think, you hear of people having like car accidents and things, and if there'd just been like a 2 or 3 second delay, that accident would never have happened. So maybe that person pulled out in front of me, and that 2 or 3 second delay that they caused to me actually saved me from having an accident, and I'll never know. I think this is something that's just so important for us all to understand, is the fact that, yeah, there's really shitty things that happen in the world. There's really ignorant people. The world can be full of pricks, but it's also full of a lot of goodness as well. And if we choose to focus on all the shitty things, we will see the world as a shitty place. And there is plenty of evidence to suggest that it is. But there is also plenty of evidence to suggest that the world is a really good place, full of good people. And I think at everybody's core nature, people are loving and caring. Even like what we would consider to be really evil people are capable of love. They normally love their mothers or their dogs or something like that. People are at their nature good, and I think the more you get into the habit of looking at the good things in life, the good nature of people and the beauty of the world around us, the more we can appreciate and live in a state of joy and happiness. We don't have to suffer, and so much of our suffering is caused by our own choice of thoughts. It's just such a mad concept if you really think about it. So I've started to make some notes in these videos now, because I know I have a habit of rambling. I don't want to script anything because I like this format of videos, but at the same time I want to be respectful of your time. I made a video on this the other day. Your time is precious. You want to spend it as best as you can. So what else have I got on my list? That was it. So the last part of this is kind of, we're getting into the territory of kind of law of attraction as well. If you've got a spiritual side, it's law of attraction. But if you've got a scientific brain to you, and I feel like I'm somewhere in between, there is a system in your brain called the reticular activating system, and it is responsible for you focusing on things that are or are not around you. It's a part of your brain that switches on the areas that you're looking at, that it chooses to focus on. So a really good example of this, like say you're considering buying a new motorbike or a car, and you had never really seen this car before, and you go out driving and suddenly everyone seems to be driving this particular car, or everyone's driving this motorbike. Or maybe there's this game that you want to play, and no one that you knew had been playing it, and then all of a sudden you start seeing it everywhere. This part of your brain, the reticular activating system, is that part that is, you have chosen to focus on this thing, and now your brain is directing your focus on that. And the thing is that everyone was already driving these cars. They haven't formed out of thin air. They were always there. It's just that you weren't focusing on them before. And I think that's a really key concept here, is that there is both good and bad in the world, and we can choose to focus on either of them, but we also have to take responsibility and accept that if we choose to focus on the negative shit, then the world is going to seem like a far more negative place. And we also have to be conscious of the fact that when we are in a bad mood, and sometimes we can't help that, we get hangry or bad shit happens and it puts us in a bad mood, that is the time where we really need to stop and consider what this mood may be doing to our view of the world, and remind ourselves that we have a choice to focus on the shit stuff or the good stuff. And I think the more we can get into a habit of focusing on the good stuff, the better the world is going to seem to us. So yeah, really hope this video was helpful. If you like these insights, you can subscribe to my newsletter in the description. We are starting to build this really fantastic community here. Massive growth of the channel over the last few days or the last week. And I'm hoping that I can continue to put out this consistent content and this format that everyone seems to be enjoying. And I hope that you're getting a lot of benefit from this, because I really do appreciate and respect that you are choosing to spend your time seeing these videos and seeing the way that I see the world. And I appreciate and I respect you. So sign up to the newsletter in the description below. I am opening up a few coaching slots. If you want to work with me on a one-to-one basis, you can apply using the link in the same description down below. And I will see you in the next video.